Hey everybody, this is Mad Matt Carter. Thank you so much for watching the AIWF Network YouTube channel as well as the AIWF Ringside Wrestling channel. If you like what you see, please do us a big favor. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, and ring that bell to get notifications every time we post new videos on both our channels. It means a lot to us, and thanks a lot for watching once again. Hi wrestling fans, and welcome to another riveting edition of AIWF Ringside Wrestling. We'll try to keep you entertained for the next little bit or give you a soundtrack to help put you to sleep. Whatever we can do to help. That's what we're here for. I am Mad Matt Carter, by the way, being joined as always by Brian and Reagan Danzig. Stephen Hayes is not going to be able to join us tonight, I don't think, unless he comes in late. He might be able to. Be great to have his perspective as we talk about Bad Blood a little bit later. But Rick Diesel is doing food truck business, so I don't think he's going to make it either. But Rick Diesel certainly kicked up a lot more than, I was going to say kicked up a little dust, but that's not accurate. He really kicked up a lot of dust last night. He and using Seth Clayton Burns as an executive assistant now. Folks, if you weren't with us last night in Mount Airy, we hate that you missed it because a lot of wild goings on happened. I guess the first thing would be to talk about Rick Diesel coming out and wrecking Ty Tyson's birthday celebration, because that happened. Wasn't very pleasant.
It wasn't very pleasant towards Ty. I mean, it was, it was downright despicable to some of the things he said. Despicable and disrespectful. Mm-hmm. That some of the things he said that were shocking to me.
That's Rick Diesel for you.
Yeah,
he is a shocking figure, and like Matt has said before, people kind of forget about that side of him. Be careful what you wish for.
Yep, because you just might get it. And so here's a little video clip. I think we can get away with showing this. There's Rose Tyson. That's Ty Tyson's daughter in there leading the audience. I don't want to. I mean, it ended up several people came in, but I want to say audience because I'm tempted to think that it would be telling the tale if I called them a crowd. Because it was. I shouldn't say that, but it's funny. Can you guys see my screen?
I can.
Okay. So here comes Rick Diesel on the way out with Seth Clayton Burns. Now, keep in mind what you're about to hear. Rick Diesel is Ty Tyson's father-in-law, which just made this all the more strange. So if you guys would like, we'll join the sound and let you guys that weren't able to join us last night in Mount Airy take a listen.
I find it just a little bit insulting that you would have this big to-do out here singing happy birthday to you, Ty, and not invite me. Maybe your family. I don't understand this. See, the thing about it is that I am the most important man in your life right now.
Actually, the most important man to me in my life is named Jeff Tyson, and he lives 3 hours from me.
But you don't understand. He's not here. He's 3 hours away. He didn't decide to come up here tonight to listen to all these people sing happy birthday to you.
He's got a point, Ty.
And you didn't even invite me. So that brings me to another issue. I feel like that with you being the father of my grandchildren, that I should be included in stuff like this. So that makes me a little concerned about the fact that how good of a father to my grandchildren can you be? So,
he's got a point.
Let's just take it for instance here. Rose Tyson, she's what, 14 years old now?
Actually, if you actually cared, you would have known she was 16.
You know what? That's beside the point. All right? 17-year-old Rose Tyson goes out on a date with a guy. And she comes home and she looks at you and she says, Daddy, or Ty, whatever she chooses to call you.
Yes.
That's fair.
And she looks at you and she says, well, this guy that I went out on a date with tonight was a little inappropriate with me. Are you prepared to be man enough to defend my granddaughter that you are the father of me? Why, it's air quotes. There's a reason for it. So, that makes me wonder, because I have to think about my grandchildren's safety, right? Right? That has to be that. See? So, I want just to satisfy my curiosity, let's do this. Let's put you in a match at Fright Night in 3 weeks on October 26th right here. A match that will test every ounce of manhood that you've ever had, that your dad, who's 3 hours away on their midnight, but that's none of my business. But he is not here, so I want to make sure that you're the man who can take care of my granddaughter if she runs into one of those situations. So you got that, Rich? This is the match. This is your match at Fright Night. Ty Tyson, Savage Kincaid, in a Monsters Mayhem match. Now, I just come up there off the top of my head. I'm that damn good. So, the adults are talking. So anyway, the Monsters Mayhem match is pretty simple. Anything goes, no disqualification, weapons are allowed, pinfall or submission. In other words, you make it through that beast right there, and I'm going to tell him to put you to the test, because the future of my grandchildren is on the line. Because I'm doing it for you and your brother and your sister. So if you can't satisfy my curiosity of being man enough to protect my grandchildren, then that's something we'll have to address later on. You just remember that. You have to make it through the biggest beast in the business.
One bad man.
You think I can take him? Friday night's 3 weeks away. That's a big match. Rick, you said some strong words. In most cases, I'd knock somebody out for that, but you are family. And this is family business. Which means, why are you out here? Now, I could use a warm-up.
First off, you don't have to do that no more. You're management now.
That's right, I am.
This man right here is my assistant. He knows how to drink. What I'm thinking is, look how this man dresses. This is a businessman right here. And I need a businessman to help me run this business. Let me tell you something. Over the last few weeks, I have watched this man. I've watched him on the phone. I've watched him handling business for me. And this man knows his stuff.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
So, father of my grandchildren, he's off limits.
I have an idea. I got an idea. You want it?
Hey, he's working. Y'all leave him alone. Okay. another partner. I don't care. Or not. You want to, you may not have no friends, but if you really want to prove to me that you can be the father of my grandchildren, then it's a good time to start.
All right.
So that kid is saying exactly what you think he's saying. No, wait. That was later on. So the kid that sounds like he said F him up, I heard him say that during the thing with Corey and them. So, and then so it is what you think he said.
Well, Rick Diesel talking about Seth Clayton Burns being a genius, and I've watched this man on the phone, which when he said that last night, I didn't understand. How could you watch somebody on the phone? I mean, I get what he was getting at, but the way he said it struck me kind of funny. And so, but yeah, making the comments, like questioning Ty Tyson's ability to be an effective father. I mean, I could understand him addressing his granddaughter's questionable taste in men, because I certainly had the same thought myself, but still, saying something like that to Ty Tyson was pretty rough.
The quotation marks, like, that's putting out business that doesn't need to be put out in a wrestling ring. So it's one of those, if you know, and it's inappropriate.
Yeah. Well.
But that is Rick Diesel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He doesn't he doesn't care anything about anybody except himself. So it's just disappointing to have worked with somebody for the last few years and then now see this. Like Brian said, people got used to him being, just the person who ran around and took people money and took people's stuff. And, I could see where that would eat away at somebody who is like Rick Diesel. So we'll see. We'll see the chaos that he's creating.
Mm-hmm.
Good or bad.
That's a lot more to come.
And like he said, you may not like it, and what he's doing is out of line, but it is making for some interesting television.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he is trying to do. It's just he's just doing it at the cost of his actual family, and it's so it's just kind of that.
It's just it's odd and it's weird, and I think that's why I personally am entertained by it, because I just don't know where the hell it's going to go,
Right.
So I'll wait and see. But see, the thing right now is that we're kind of laughing and taking it lighthearted and stuff like that, and it's leading to matches with other people and all that kind of stuff. But I'm afraid that this is a snowball rolling downhill. It's just going to get bigger and faster. Mm-hmm. Eventually, somebody's going to say or do something that's completely out of line.
Yes,
and then it's going to become deeply personal and become a civil war. And that's what I don't want to see happen.
And is this worth fracturing your family?
Yeah.
They gave off such a look of being such a tight-knit family. Uh-huh. And to see now that Rick Diesel seems to be more focusing on creating a show and creating matches and pissing people off, I don't know. I wouldn't want to, at this time in life, when you're at this age and you have a family, like, what is more important? But apparently we're seeing what is more important to Rick Diesel.
Yeah.
And, again.
Well, and who knows, in his mind, he may be like, no, this is worth it. And I'm doing something. This is good for my family, and this is even good for Ty. It's going to get more views on the internet, and so it's going to be good in the long run. But who knows?
Yeah, It's like there was a villain me and my wife were talking about. Oh, yeah. On the Rings of Power, Sauron. You know, evil to no extent. They call him Sauron the Deceiver because that's all he does is lie and sow discord among friends to get what he wants and everything. But in his twisted mind, he thinks he's helping.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I mean,
I've told Reagan that before. Nobody thinks they're the bad guy. Everybody rationalizes what they're doing. It's like, yeah, this may seem underhanded, but you're not looking at the big picture.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing overall is good.
Yeah.
Nobody
Yeah.
thinks they're the bad guy.
Once I plunge the world into darkness, cover it with orcs, and have dominion over all life, you guys will understand.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you'll
Oh,
see the finished product and
you'll love
be
it.
happy.
Yeah. You'll be enslaved, but you'll be happy in your work.
Exactly.
Yeah, that struck me. We were. It reminded me of we were talking the other night, and I looked at her and I was just like, God, what an asshole! He actually thinks he's helping. You know?
You need to watch this show
Mhm.
because I love Lord of the Rings. So
Yeah, it's all right. So all right, nerd alert. Here we go. So this story takes place in the Second Age. It's right after, I don't know how much about Tolkien folklore that you know, but it's right after Morgoth disappears.
okay, yeah,
And-
I read the Silmarillion. So
Okay, so it's right after Morgoth disappears, but it gets into the destruction of the two life trees. Well, one of the two life trees, and you learn more about the Undying Lands. But it follows Galadriel before she was the Lady of Light,
Mhm.
and Elrond when he was still a youngster. And so it covers them, and then I don't want to spoil anything for you because everything's been awesome so far.
Yeah, I mean, if you know the story, I mean, isn't it spoiled to know the? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you know the
I know
lore.
the basics. I couldn't read the Silmarillion because it was just
It's like begat this person. It's like reading what's the Bible? There's a
and
Bible that
the
just
Bible.
tells everybody. So and it
the
reads very
lineages.
similar.
Yeah, that's what it was, and I think that's where Tolkien got the idea, because he's had a very strong faith, and the way I've read about it, he knew the Bible front to back, so I think that's what he was copying when he wrote the Silmarillion. Was like, I need to explain the lineage here. I'm like, no, no, don't write it like a religious text, please.
But it is. It's a very hard read. So.
Yeah. Well, he was writing it more of an outline for himself. I don't think he ever planned. They didn't publish it during his lifetime, did they?
I don't
Didn't he-
remember. Did they do it after he passed? I don't remember that. I don't remember that much, but
Yeah, because there's some mistakes in it with the dates and stuff. But you know what? He would have had to have a chalkboard as big as the side of a freaking 18-wheeler to map out that whole world and have it in one place, So, but anyway, all right, nerds, check it out. Rings of Power. You'll like it. All right. So another odd thing happened last night during the television title match between no comparison Joe Harrison and Ironhead Matt Anderson. Nothing Joe Harrison tried in the beginning of the match was working, but he finally got control. This is with about 2 minutes left to go in the match. And he's got this submission locked in. Looks like a crossface on Matt Anderson. Really can't tell from this angle, but I think he's got his arm trapped. And he does. Matt, nice reversal. That's hard to do when you're getting stretched in a submission hold. But at least that's the way it looks to me. I don't know, Brian. I've never wrestled. Don't let me mislead the public here. But Joe's,
you're right.
Joe's starting to get the momentum back, and but Matt Anderson's like a freaking tank. And look, bam, just catches him with that spine buster. Didn't get all of it because they both wore out. But look at this. Here comes Seth Clayton Burns.
You want to be a champion? Become a champion.
What are you doing here?
Put him out. Are you kidding me, man? I'm giving you the keys to the castle.
I don't want it that way.
Clayton Burns out here. Uh-oh. 1, 2, 3. Oh, no. Well, and there you have it. One quick 1, 2, 3. And Joe Harrison's still the television champion. Matt Anderson held that title for quite a while. A year or so ago. Who's he feuding with?
Remember
they were tag team partners?
Gorilla Q.
Yeah,
Gorilla Q.
Yeah, and so, but I kept hearing him tell Joe Harrison before the match started, like, that's my belt, right? I never really lost that belt, right? And then Seth Clayton Burns came out there. I just thought that was odd because Matt Anderson, not in many years, has even gotten close to breaking a rule. But for Seth Clayton Burns, and look, it didn't sound like to me that they had not talked before. Because Matt was surprised to see him, but it wasn't like, I hadn't spoken. He said, "What are you doing here?" Like, maybe they were talking in the locker room like 15 minutes ago, and he's just like, "Wait a minute, why are you here?" Something, I don't know. I don't think it was just by chance that he wandered out there in that match.
No, and and Matt Anderson is a good guy. Like he's always been very honorable. Just a really good guy, and is always respectful, but it's strange because wanting a title, like, can it change you, like, and stuff, especially if you're consider that you've never lost it. Like, you have to think about what does that do inside your head. But like I said, I've never known him to be underhanded. So hopefully Seth has just made a mistake here.
He teamed with Sebastian Kane about 10 or so years ago, back before I came back. And he does have a tendency to be dastardly if need be. He's not afraid to take a bat to somebody. And I will say this. He was as polite and friendly as it is. He was plumb jovial when he was TV champion before. He really likes being a champion. Matt Anderson does. And I think he's got his, he got his eyes on that gold, and him and Joe Harrison shook hands after that match. It looked nice and everything, but pointing at him and doing this,
Mm-hmm.
It was that close, and so I don't know, but I think that Matt's going to demand a rematch. And I honestly, with the Seth Clayton Burns monkey wrench getting thrown in there, what about you, Brian? I don't think it's an unreasonable request by any stretch of the imagination.
No, definitely not. And I'm sure Joe, once I don't even know if Joe even knows what happened, because he was still suffering the effects of that spine buster. And then, he was lying there recovering while Matt was arguing with Seth Burns. So, yeah, he may not have even known what happened. So, seeing how, once he sees the situation, I think he would give Matt a rematch.
I think so too. They're both great sportsmen.
Mm-hmm. And it was a really good matchup. It was a very technical showdown at the beginning, but then they started trading some strikes there throughout the match. So neither one of them was taking it easy on each other. They both, Joe wants to keep hold of that title, and Matt wants it back. So,
well, a funny thing about that match is when they got in the ring and I introduced it in my head, because I'm always thinking about how much I'm going to film for the fan cam, because the fan cam is really made for YouTube, right? Short videos, right? So I do film entire matches and put them up there sometimes if they're really high stakes or whatever. But for the most part, I'll lay out the first 4 or 5 minutes of a match. And then after they've got the feeling out process over with, then I'll join it, and start recording. That match last night, and I apologize in advance for this, but when it comes out on YouTube, 1 minute and 49 seconds, because they were going at it so hard. I mean, that's how fast it ended. It was like, I may have been away from ringside for 3.5 minutes and came back in there and started filming, and it ended that quick. So they must have been going hard from the beginning, because I've seen each one of those guys go 10, 15, 20 minutes like it's nothing. So I had to figure they were in there throwing haymakers pretty much from the beginning. So, and I was outside, I walked outside with Chris Severn, and he was standing there watching the match, and he looked over at me and he goes, Matt, everything Joe Harrison is trying is not working. Would you agree with that analysis, Brian, at the beginning of that match?
Yeah. At the beginning, I think that's kind of one of the reasons it turned into a little bit of a brawl, because I think both of them were kind of getting frustrated. But yeah, especially Joe Harrison. I mean, Matt is, he has that low center of gravity type body that's hard to move around. And, you know, when you're a technical wrestler like Joe Harrison, sometimes that can really throw a wrench in your game plan.
Yeah. So, but we'll see. I hope to see him again. We were joined last night again by Gary the Love Machine Strider, who has the best entrance music in AIWF Mid-Atlantic right now. I say it on the fan cam, and I know we can't play it on YouTube. It's unfortunate. You got to come and see this guy live to get the whole impression. He comes out to Jackie Moon's Love Me Sexy. And if you were familiar with the movie Semi-Pro starring Will Ferrell from 2008, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, baby, you want to love me sexy. You know that song. And it's just, you know, White Mike came out to that song when he came to AIWF Mid-Atlantic a couple of times. And I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I just absolutely lose my mind when I hear that song. I just
Yeah, me too. Yeah, Kevin and I were both chair dancing in our seats to the song.
And I was lip syncing to Darren and had him just cracking up. And it was like, when I say love me, you say sexy love me. But unfortunately for him, his opponent was Jackson Sane. And, you know, Jackson Sane is by virtue of his name, a little bit crazy or whatever. But he did not take to the Love Machine shenanigans very, very well. To be insane, this is weird. Jackson Sane does not suffer fools gladly. You know, right. Because he seemed confused by it at first, but then when I think it occurred to him, oh, this kid's not taking this seriously. You know, he laid into him with, well, let's just say a veteran educating a younger wrestler on being more focused during the match. Wish Gary a speedy recovery from that match.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like I was telling Kevin, they both have a psych out strategy. It's just they're polar opposites. Gary's is the go out there and act goofy and dance around and make my opponent not take me seriously, whereas Jackson Sane is a intimidating madman. And it was very interesting to see those two styles clash with each other.
Yeah, but did you see that after Jackson Sane wrestled, him and Jezebeth came out, they had a merchandise stand set up and everything, and people were coming over there. Maybe the fans are starting to, you know, get on their side. I don't know. I think that we will look back at Deal with Steel when Jackson Sane defeated Sin Crowley as maybe a turning point one day in his career. I don't know. It just seemed like a really big deal when it happened. And looking back, it
was. I mean, as successful as Jackson Sane has been, you would still have to call that an upset just because Sin Crowley is such a staple, in this area.
And this is the other thing about our crowd. Like, our crowd loves the people that everybody else hates. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because, I mean, just think about Conno Kelly coming out last night. Everywhere else I've seen Conno Kelly, like, everybody hates hates him so much, man. But he comes out, our crowd just, no matter what he does, just loves him. So that's one thing I love about the Mount Airy crowd is like they really, if they love you, they love you. They don't care what you do to win, but they love you. So
they pick their favorites, and that's just it.
I was talking to Con before the show, and we were back there in the dressing room with one of the younger guys, and I was just like, this crowd is going to decide whether you're loved or hated or not, and there's nothing you can do about it. And the kid was like, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "Take this guy for example. Comes out here first night, gets booed, but wrestles Caden Pierre. Right? So they were on Caden's side that night. From then on, no matter what he's done, no matter how dirty he's done his opponent, they've cheered him. He's not a bad guy here, and he can't be, and he won't be ever again. He'd have to do, aside from, burning the flag in the middle of the ring, I don't think anything could turn the crowd against Con O'Kelly right now. They love him.
They do. They love him. And, he does. But the thing about it is he doesn't change any of the stuff he does. Like, he does. It's not like he comes here and acts totally different than he does anywhere else. It's just our crowd loves what he does in the ring. And that's, like I said, that's one of the reasons I love Mount Airy, and I love Mount Airy crowds.
Well, if you follow Conor Kelly on social media, you see he's really picked it up over the last couple of years as far as his training. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but he's slimmed down a lot. He's taking his wrestling seriously. I saw him today practicing, taking bumps. What do you call them when they just do a front flip right off the bottom turnbuckle and take a back bump, to toughen up your back. And I saw him working on those, and I was just like, God, man, that kid's dedicated, because that really hurts. But you got to do it.
Oh yeah.
You don't build up that callus.
Body used to that.
Yeah. But anyway, but Con O'Kelly had a good match last night against Cam Isaac and who else was in that? Metallico. And so Cam Isaac though trained in Lodi School, I believe. And has been making some hay up here lately. And as a matter of fact, he won that match, I believe.
He did, yes.
Yeah,
so he's going to get a shot at the cruiserweight title at Fright Night, and so that's a big opportunity for somebody who is a relative newcomer to Mid Atlantic, but he earned his spot by defeating. Two well-established cruiserweights in the Mid-Atlantic area. So,
oh yeah, absolutely. And I just realized we're just about halfway through the stuff we need to cover from last night, and so we're going to keep working on it. But I am going to go ahead and do our first daggone. I almost said first damn ad read. Tell us how you really feel, man. I love our sponsors, and I appreciate it. I'm wondering if maybe I should record these so I could just, save my voice sometimes. But I just think it's cool. It's like old school, like the radio announcers and TV announcers did back. You ever seen like the Ed Wynn show from back in the 50s, and they stop after a bit and walk over and talk about Camel cigarettes for a couple of minutes and then go back to the show. I like the old live reads. Premier Auto Detailing is our sponsor that handles, auto detailing and car washes. Bet you could have never guessed that with the pictures, but yeah, hands down the best car cleaning service in town. They operate in the Mount Airy, Surrey County area. You can give them a call at 336-736-2638. 336-736-2638. They handle residential jobs as well as commercial jobs. So if you got a used car lot and you need somebody to come in every couple of weeks and wash cars for you, or, come in on demand when you sell one and clean it up, before you send it down the road with the new owner. These guys might be able to help you out with that. They have free estimates, so it ain't going to cost you a dime to call them and ask a few questions. 336-736-2638 for for premier auto detailing. Hands down, the best car cleaning service in town. Tees Creations Custom Apparel. If you need custom-made tees, sweats, hoodies, or anything, pretty much, they can help you. They do custom tumblers. They do even ink pen sets, those flowery pens you see at the bottom left. Their new fall collection is out, and yes, Halloween is getting there. I started dragging out my Halloween decorations today. They got you covered. They're all over the internet. I mean, you have to try not to find them, honestly. TeesCreations22.com is the official website. You can find them on Facebook at Tees Creations by Allied Apparel, TikTok on Tees Creations, and on Shopify. You can find them in all those places. Tees Creations, oh yeah, they are good to go. And you get those custom-made tees and everything ready for your fall. You know, we like to eat around here. Our newest sponsor is Big D's Grill. It's another food truck service that operates out of Mount Airy. Except these guys specialize in hamburgers, chicken wings, and cheesesteak, Philly cheesesteak. Now, the proprietor of Big D's was telling me yesterday, a guy from Mount Airy told him that was the most authentic Philly cheesesteak he'd ever eaten in his life. Of course, when it comes to things like pizza, cheesesteaks, stuff like that, if you were not born in the northeastern part of the United States, I tend to be doubtful of your opinion. Just saying. But Big D was born in the northeastern part of this United States, and he is from Jersey, so he knows a thing or two about Philly steaks, and he knows a thing or two about quality hot dogs. And of course, he's learned how to do chicken right since he's been down here in the South. But all that stuff is available at Big D's Grill, and my understanding is that he will be doing concessions at Fright Night this year. So Tees Treats will be on another location at Fright Night on October 26th. So you get to try out Big D's Grill. And so I know I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to trying one of his cheesesteaks. But newest sponsor, and we're glad to have him on. If you want to join and get a little read like that, $10 a month's all it costs. We do 4 reads. If we take a week off, which we are next week, by the way, because NASCAR's in town, and I'm just not going to be able to make it back in time to do the show next week. So we'll be off next week, but that don't bother you none. You get 4 reads for $10. So if we take a week off, that does not bother you one bit. You can get in touch with myself, Rick Diesel, across social media. Email us. You can shoot us a message on our Instagram account. I mean, just anywhere, if you're interested. And we picked up a couple of new sponsors in the last few months, and we are certainly grateful to have them. All right. So good. We caught you, Reagan, sipping out the soup bowl.
No, it's hot chocolate.
Oh, okay.
It's hot it does look like a soup bowl, but hot chocolate in it. I was having a very strange craving for it, even though it's not cold yet. So,
well, it's about to be cold.
Like I'm slurping out of a soup bowl, though.
Yeah, if you're watching us in North Carolina, I don't know about, because this show, I'm in Concord. They're in Clemens or somewhere thereabout.
Yep.
And Rick Diesel, of course, is in Mount Airy. Corey Etzel, I don't know where the hell he's at. Greensboro, I guess, when he's on. But let's see here. Yeah, according to what my handy dandy weather bug says, is tomorrow is going to be the last hot day. It's going to be 82 degrees tomorrow, and that's not even really hot, but it's hot for October, right? But starting Tuesday, high of 73, Wednesday, high of 73, Thursday, high of 70, Friday, high of 71, Saturday, 79, Sunday, 78, Monday, 77, next Tuesday, 65. So it looks like all
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and low temps are going to be in the high 40s and low 50s. So if you got relatives that live with you, they're always bitching about the cold. That's going to get ramped up into overdrive now. So, I got one of those. Just saying.
I just the thing about North Carolina is you have to dress for the winter in the mornings right now, and then you have to be able to unlayer by the end of the evening.
Oh yeah,
afternoon.
Well, I was telling Jinky, you know, it got cool. Remember, it got cool about 2 weeks ago for several days. And she's like, wow, this weather's great. This weather's great. And I was like, don't trust it. It's still September. This is fall. You know, I said, don't trust it. You can't trust it until mid-October.
No, you can't.
So, anyways, but see, by March, I'll be ready for the warm weather to come back. So, all right. So moving on, we had so much go on last night. Corey Etzel came to the ring, and right before intermission, and announced his retirement. And y'all, maybe some of you who weren't there last night are like, "What are you talking about, Matt?" That's what he did. So this is a little bit longer of a video. This is going to be about 10 minutes, but I'm going to show you the entire segment. See, they're cracking one-liners right there and on mute, and it's just, and I see them laughing, so I know they're good. So
Sorry, I'm listening. It's just something going on here, so I'm trying to be. I'm sorry.
No. I was like about to tell the audience. I was like, see, look at him talking shit.
Well, it's better than when I was talking shit one day and didn't have it muted.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't know. I can't remember who you're talking shit about. It depends.
I'm not saying.
It depends on the subject. Jason. But anyway.
Yeah, the thing last night with Corey was very strange.
Yeah, so this is a weird segment, everybody. So I want you to watch it in its entirety. That's why I want to get the commercial read out of the way, because I was just realizing like how much we got to go over. So I will shut up now and let you guys take a look at what happened when Corey Etzel visited the ring last night.
And how much I hate the people you cheer for, and just in general talk down to you, but I'm not here to do that tonight. I'm not here to talk down to anybody, in fact. I'm here to uplift you with a story of redemption, triumph, and ultimately the end. So at this time, Brian Danzig, I would appreciate very much if you would come down here. Please, sir. This means a lot to me if you'll do this for me, because you've always meant a lot to me, buddy. I want you to come in this ring and hold this microphone for me, because I've got an announcement to make. All right, Corey, everybody is patiently waiting for your announcement, so I guess let's get to it. Brian, I just want you to know how much hold that up right here, buddy. I'm a little taller than you. I want you to know how much I appreciate you. If it wasn't for you, seeing you as a 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old young man, I probably wouldn't be here today. So thank you for that. Everyone give Brian Danzig a big round of applause. Yeah, Brian! I appreciate that. Now, I've been gone for a while. I've actually been gone since Deal with the Steel. But we'll get back to that. What I'm here to tell you folks tonight is officially, as of tonight, I am one half of the greatest tag team in AIWF Mid-Atlantic history. We're so good, in fact. So before, I see in your eyes, I know why you're out here. You heard rumors. You guys heard rumors. Now, I know last time we were here, Brian, you announced that on October 26th at Fright Night, myself and Mecha Mercenary, the greatest AIWF Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Champions of all time, would be taking on Chris Tinney and Matrix. But I have some unfortunate news for you, gentlemen. It won't be happening. I'm very sorry for that. I just came here tonight to let everyone know that as of tonight, I am going to retire as the greatest
Crowd seems to like that news.
Don't you clap for my retirement? You're supposed to be crying. I'm going to retire because, quite honestly, we won the belts and we actually defended the damn things twice, unlike every other Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Champion ever. So I'm going to gladly put this belt on my shoulder. I'm going to John Wayne out of here and go die with a colon full of meat.
Thank you, everybody.
Whoa, 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 whoa. You ain't going anywhere, big boy. We got a contract we got signed for those belts. Where you been for 2 months? You're supposed to I'm not wrestling. Retire. Oh, so that's the easy way out. Retire. He's not a human shield.
I don't have your back. You walk away. I need something.
We're not hurting, man. We done got over that. We're waiting on the 26th. We're coming for that. Shut up about it.
We want to make you about 10 pounds lighter, Corey. About 10 pounds lighter so you can retire a wannabe like you always do.
Hey, easy. Hey.
And Corey, we know that you're no dope. Yeah, I can go there. I can go there. I think Nature's got a few things he might want to get off his chest.
Yeah, you started this mess. It's nice to be interrupted, and you know, you interrupted me at the Hall of Fame. We interrupt you at your retirement.
Yeah.
He wants to retire so he can keep all his teeth in his mouth. But he knows what's going to happen when me and Teddy get in the ring with him. Brian, you're not in danger. You got my respect, so I will not.
Everybody. Thank you.
So what you're telling me is you're coming out here and you're calling me a coward, a chicken, a loser, a bozo, and a butthole. Is that what you just told? Is that what you said to everybody?
100%.
Don't you touch my hand! Don't you ever touch my hand.
I'll touch that hand and put you in a finger lock and watch you cry for an hour.
All right, Steve Seagal, you calm your tits down. Here's what we're gonna say. You want us at Fright Night? You want us October 27th? You want us to put the tag titles on the line? Is that what you want? No.
It's easy for you to say that. However, the AIWF, this match has been signed, and I know how you like to use litigation for your advantage, but we have the law on our side on this one. We have your signature, we have Mega's signature on the contract.
Get his signature.
We got it, all right?
Right.
He put an X. That's all we need. He can write Donald Duck on it for all we care. We have both of your signatures. That match is happening on October 26th. If you no-show, then we'll just give the belts to these guys. The match is happening one way or another, Corey. So the decision is okay. Fine. ceremony that night, and we'll just get the titles to these guys.
Hey, what's wrong? You run out of testicular fortitude to have a match all of a sudden? How about you get in here? We'll do whatever you want. What kind of match you want to have, Corey? You want to have a submission match? I know Chris Tenney likes some submission matches. How about a hardcore match? This guy, we had a few with him. Oh man, that makes me all.
What do you say, Corey? You get to call the shot. You get to call the match.
You guys are suckers. You can kiss my ass with that hardcore stuff because quite frankly, I'm a wrestling champion. So if you two bozos want to come back at Fright Night and try to reclaim some of that old glory, you're going to have to do it in a professional wrestling match. No street fighting, none of your nonsense. If you're going to beat the greatest wrestling tag team in AIWF history, guess what, boys? We ain't having jiu-jitsu competitions, and we're not having karate competitions. 1, 2, 3, submission, or count out or disqualification. You know, you can't win the belt that way. But boys, if you want me, if you want Mecca on October 27th, that's what I want.
This is 26, but
I'll be here both days.
we're all the same.
I don't care. I'm showing
You can show up the 27th if you want, but you need to be here on the 26th.
We'll take you on the 26th and the 27th. We don't care. Wrestling match, you got it. Because we were trained by some of the best guys around for wrestling.
Corey, the main thing that I want to say thank you to is allowing these great people in Mount Airy to see you get your ass kicked one more time.
There you have it, folks. The match is on October 26th for the AIWF Mid-Atlantic Tag Team titles.
27, whatever.
Well, Corey says he wants a regular, no hardcore, no special stipulations, just a regular old-fashioned wrestling match. So,
Well, and I think I don't think Corey, of course, I don't think he actually had any intentions of coming out there and actually retiring. I think he was using that as a leverage point to try to say, we're going to do the kind of match that I want, or the match just isn't going to happen.
mm-hmm.
And he's right. If they do a hardcore match, it would be to the advantage of Matrix and Chris Tenney. They have a lot of experience with those kinds of matches, and with it being just a regular rules wrestling match, they haven't been in a wrestling ring in years. So yeah, that's definitely going to give the edge to Corey and Mecca.
Yep, it's going to be interesting. But I kind of like that because, see, a lot of that karate stuff that they do, and I don't know much about the martial arts, but a lot of that's legal in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Well, and
you can
Chris
chop,
is-
you can kick, you know.
I believe Chris has, I believe both of them have a background in judo and jujitsu. So, I mean, jujitsu, you don't really get, I mean, that matches up with wrestling pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of grappling involved. In that. So yeah, it's it's not a style that matches perfectly, but it's a style that can be incorporated into pro wrestling if you do it the right way. And those guys, they did do it the right way because, for one, they were wrestling fans. They've been wrestling fans since they were kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's one of the reasons, they got into martial arts first, but they wanted to get involved in pro wrestling because they're big fans of it. So they know about it.
Yeah, I mean, and then both of them study wrestling. It's not like, and they were in wrestling for many, many, many years. It's not like the only thing they did was hardcore. They wrestled other people besides hardcore people. I mean, so I think he is underestimating their abilities, and I think he's underestimating the shape they're in, and I think he's underestimating them. But that's classic Corey. So we'll see what happens. I know he says it is just a 1, 2, 3, or submission, but I also heard him say a little quieter or disqualification, and you don't get the titles then. So I'm worried about what Corey's real plan is going to be. Is he even going to let them have a match? Like, is he even going to take the time to let them have a match before?
I think he's kind of given himself an escape route, basically. If he feels he's starting to get in trouble, he'll pull Larry Zbyszko when Bob Backlund locked him into the chicken wing, and Larry started flailing around, grabbed the referee by the collar, pulled him in, and punched him in the face, and got himself disqualified before he submitted. I was like, that was beautiful.
Because I was just sitting here thinking before you said that, Brian, what's stopping Corey from just punching the referee in the face and getting himself?
Well, again, like I said, I think he wants to beat them. He does have a grudge against, especially Richie, because he feels that Richie took him under his wing when he first got into wrestling, and felt abandoned by him when he stopped doing wrestling. So I think he wants to prove a point that that he's still in wrestling for a reason, and that he's the better man. So he wants to try to prove that, but at the same time, he wants to have that escape route to be able to get disqualified if he feels that there's a chance he might lose the belts.
Because this is their match to win, not his. When it comes down to it, they have to pin the champ to get those belts. And if we've learned anything, Corey may say one thing, but I'm sure there's a million other things in his head. So I think it'd be interesting. I'm excited to see Chris and Richie back in the ring. We did a lot of, we were involved with a lot of matches with them. We knew them on outside out of wrestling. We spent a lot of time with them, and you cannot underestimate them.
No, not at all.
And like I said, as I was watching it, I was still saying they look exactly like they did 20 years ago.
Yep, it's uncanny.
It's not like, so, but yeah. So I'm excited about this one.
Yep. All right. Well, one last thing we're going to cover from last night's show before we move on is Justin Flash was in Clayton, North Carolina, defending the Mid-Atlantic Championship down there, which he successfully did. I'm not sure who his opponent was, but I know it was a successful title defense. But in our show last night, Rick Diesel wanted to announce his opponent and did something very unusual. They actually called him on Facebook Messenger so he could witness the announcement from the locker room of the NCWA show down in Clayton. And so we've got some video of that. You can't see Justin Flash real good. And I tried with the fan cam to capture what was going on the big screen best I could. So the quality may be a little off for you here, but I promise you it's going to be edited together and put into an episode of Mid-Atlantic in a few weeks. Be nice and smooth there. But I wanted you to kind of get the gist of what the live audience saw and heard last night and the unusual nature of Justin Flash's opponent and this match that's coming up. Let's go and take a look at the video right now.
I have a question for you people. partially pay attention. How many of you know about the AIWF network on YouTube? All right. You need to keep one thing into consideration. When you watch the AIWF Mid-Atlantic wrestling episodes, Tuesday nights at 7, you got to keep in mind that there's stuff that's filmed backstage that's how you get to see that, is to watch those episodes. So tell your friends, go to the AIWF network on YouTube and watch those episodes. I know everybody in here can get YouTube because I know, hey, even the government hands out welfare phones and they're pretty good phones. But now I have something else that I need to deal with. Make the call. Fright Night again is in 3 weeks right here in this building.
Justin Flash.
Are we calling him that? We're making a phone call of one of those FaceTime things. This man is so smart that he is that good.
There he is.
There.
Hey, Justin.
There. We have Justin Flash on the Facebook that's in. He is live from Clayton, North Carolina, where I sent him for a Mid-Atlantic tag. Justin, can you hear me? Oh, I thought that. Listen, did you retain the title tonight? You're still, he is still champion. So that's good because, Justin, I sent you to Clayton so that I wouldn't have to deal with you tonight when I announced your match for Fright Night.
It's you.
All right? It's going to be interesting. So, Seth, we're going to put it right up here on this big screen. Seth, you make sure Justin can see this. Play that video.
No souls matter.
This is who you're wrestling in Fright Night, Justin Flash.
Justin Flash, up here, champ. That was very, very impressive. You are the AIWF champion, and I am the Demon of Fear, the Soul Taker, and I will be making my debut in just a couple of weeks' time. And I am coming there to challenge you for your championship. Not only I'm challenging you for your championship, I'm going to take your soul. Then after I do that, I will be the man on top of the world in AIWF. Let's make things more interesting. This is entitled Fright Night, right? Well, how about this? You tell your friends, you tell your family members that burial services for you, Justin, is going to be Saturday, October 26th. You put that championship on the line against me in my type of match. Buried alive. There's nowhere to run, Justin. Nowhere to hide, Justin. No souls matter.
You heard him, Justin. Tell your friends, tell your family. October 26th in Mount Airy, you just might get buried alive. 26th, because we're going to have us a graveyard right here. And we're going to put Justin Flash out of his misery. You boo me all you want to, but I am management now. I run this show, and not only am I in charge, I'm damn good looking.
Well, that's that. So, the Soul Taker, sounded familiar. You know, I had a joke last night, I saw this guy on, I don't know if I want to make this joke now, after I saw him posing in the back with another wrestler at another show. The Soul Taker's a big guy. He's really tall.
Yeah. I've seen some. I've watched some videos of him, and yeah, he is a very big guy.
But a buried alive match? I mean, how logistically speaking, they're going to have to build that grave outside. I would think, because I don't know how you're going to put that.
That was the first I had heard of it. I will be very. Apparently, Rick says he has the logistics worked out on how they're going to do this. So we'll just have to see what kind of apparatus they have worked out to do this matchup.
Well, you know, I think back to years ago when we had that big tournament style 3-ring thing in Elkin, and I'm talking, this is probably back 08, 09.
That was, yes, I remember. Do you remember that in Elkin? I don't remember. Yeah, I remember because they were in like a triangle, right? Like
no. They were
straight
up,
down.
Yeah, they were straight up side by side.
I don't remember that one.
All right, so
that don't mean anything.
It was a one-night tournament, and basically, like, whoever came out at the end, it was the AIWF champion. Jimmy Love actually lost in the first match, but then came back and won the title back at the end. The Rooster, remember the Rooster that used to come with Shady the Clown?
Yes.
That bunch, he actually won the AIWF title only for about 3 minutes during that tournament that night. But I remember when Rick Diesel pitched the idea to me of that, and I was like, man, that is ambitious, a 3-ring tournament. And what they did was they had a match start in each of the end rings, and whoever won that match, those matches would move to the middle, and then that person would advance, and they would wait in the middle ring while the outside rings had other matches, and then they would come in, have a 3-way match, and whoever won it would stay in the middle ring, and more opponents would come, and they just kept going until they ran out of wrestlers. The whole show was like that. I mean, pretty much one match lasted for like 2 hours. You know, and it was just, but it was constant action. It was crazy. And so, but we pulled it off. We never did it again because it was a hell of a lot of work setting up and tearing down 3 rings.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm glad we did it.
Yeah. I guess we wouldn't have been there in 2000. That's when we had our children.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. So, but yeah, so this is ambitious like that, you know. And I've seen WWE do buried alive matches, and they've done 3 or 4 of them, and maybe more than that now. I don't know. But it seems like the burial mounds always get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I don't know how we're going to truck, you know, a dump truck load of dirt into Veterans Park. You know, it's just, I don't know.
It's one of those ones you're going to have to be there because telling you as the producer of the show and the person who is in charge of recording things, those types of matches are going to be hard to see once they're put together and put on the network.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, there is no way that I will be able to get every single thing that happens in that match. So you might think, oh, I'll just watch it on YouTube when it comes out on Tuesday at 7 on whenever it comes out. But you're going to miss some stuff because it's hard to keep up with matches like that. And so that's one, if you can think you can watch any of the other ones, fine. You're not going to be able to get the full force of this match unless you're there.
Yeah. Well, and just to see this match live and to experience it and actually be there for the AIWF's first Buried Alive match.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that in and of itself is going to be worth it. That, and there's all these other great matches on top of it. But I mean, this match alone is going to be worth the price of admission.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can't wait to see it. It's going to be awesome. The AIWF's first Buried Alive match. So, wow. Anybody know how the referee's doing? We had a referee go down in our main event last night. What's his name?
Thomas.
Yes, Thomas. I need to remember just think about the English muffin when I think about him.
I know, for some reason, you're not the only one that has trouble remembering his name. He has a very generic, basic name, and I think we're used to everybody having some kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, Thomas, I saw him in the back. He seemed to be pretty good. He says he has a very hard head, and gave me some other excuses about why he has a hard head and the things he does with his hard head that I told him didn't make me feel any better about the fact that he might not have concussions. But, he swore up and down he was fine, and people looked at him, and we had him checked out. We checked out his pupils and all that stuff and his motor skills and things like that. And it seemed that it looked worse than it did. Wait a minute. Is that right?
It looked worse than it was.
Yeah, it looked worse than it was.
I don't know that there's anybody qualified in concussion protocol that's in the AIWF locker room on a regular basis, but okay. Rick Diesel told me, he was like, yeah, we'll check on him, and I did not leave feeling comfortable about that situation.
Well,
but of course, I will say this.
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
25 years ago, if the same thing would have happened to me, I would have stupidly not gone and seen a doctor either.
And that's what I was telling. And I was telling him, I was like, I made a lot of bad decisions about my head. So let's try to make better decisions. But, he says he's fine. So
that, and I haven't heard anything today. So I think if his situation had worsened and he had to go to the hospital or something, I think we would have heard something by now.
Well, best wishes to you, Thomas. That's all. That's all I'll say is that was a rough hit, but it goes with the territory. But it's like now it's like 20 years ago we didn't know what we know about concussions like we do now, and it's not like that we didn't give a fuck or we were reckless back then. We just didn't know.
Right?
No, yeah. It was just
Junior Seau only happened a few years ago. Chris Benoit happened in 2007. And so I really think that's the beginning of when people started looking at the damage concussions could do. It started with Benoit, but then when Junior Seau killed himself and left a suicide note, hey, please study my brain, people were like, wow, okay. And now that, pro football, wrestling, UFC, they have all this, fancy concussion protocol, and we live in a safer world because of that.
Yeah, and because when you think about not just like when in the 2000s, like when I was playing sports in high school, they'd be like, oh, let's look at you. Can you do this with your finger? Can you follow me? Okay, fine, get back in the game. Yeah. And people just didn't know. People just didn't know what it did. We, like you said, we know now. But back then it was like, oh, it's just going to give me a headache and make me a little dizzy, and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
But the damage that you can take to you have to be very careful now, because that's the one thing on that Vince McMahon documentary that was interesting was that neurologist that was the wrestler showing what a normal brain looks like under a microscope versus a CTE brain. And I thought that was fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you don't watch any of the episodes, find that episode, because it's eye-opening about what it does to your actual brain.
Yeah, so. Don't watch it with anybody on this show, because they'll just steer the conversations back to the territories.
I was listening
to all these other podcasts that did these great reviews of the Vince McMahon thing, and I was like, well, you know what? We tried.
Well, like I said, Rick Diesel is a very old school person. So I could see where he would, be very fond of territory times. And
I love the territories, but I was trying to do a Vince McMahon review. One back to the territories.
that my brain wasn't working last week either, and I don't know why. Maybe I was having a little touch of the CTE. I shouldn't make a joke. That's terrible.
Oh,
terrible. But I think I wish we got to talk about more, because I think the biggest takeaway from that whole documentary, to me, was the relationship between him and Shane McMahon. The Shane McMahon talking about wanting to make his father happy was heartbreaking. Mm-hmm. And and there were times that Vince said things about Shane that just I was like, God Almighty, how could he say that about his son? And it's just, that was kind of my takeaway from the whole thing was like, we all knew about the lawsuits. We all knew about Shawn Michaels. I did not know about Wendy Richter, and all these, and Brett, everybody kind of knew those stories, but to actually see Stephanie, Vince, and Shane talk about the dynamic between Shane and Vince I thought that was very fascinating and heartbreaking.
Yep. Very unfortunate. All right. Well, from that to with absolutely no segue, branch management. It's time to plant. It's fall now. It's time to get those trees in the ground, new bushes, shrubbery, whatever you're doing. Branch management can help you with that. Pressure washing, general contracting, gutter cleaning. Best part, free estimates. 336-648-2487. That's branch management. They serve the Surrey County area. Say you want future generations in your neighborhood to see bright red, pretty maple trees every October, every year. Well, now's the time to get them planted, because, you're probably not going to make it till they're big enough to be impressive, but your grandkids might. And so I'm sorry, I'm just joking. I'm trying to be funny, but I'm also tired. 3-648-2487. Time to get that planting done. Branch management is here to help you. Tease Treats, our most delicious sponsor and official food truck of the AIWF Mid-Atlantic, is available to help you out. They come to any festival. They're all over the place. You want to see where they're at, you can call them at 336-755-8204. That's 336-755-8204. Or check them out on Facebook.com/Tease Treats and see where they're going to be at. And you got to check them out. This food is awesome. They have, potato wedges here, corn dogs, all that great stuff, funnel cakes. But they are called Tease Treats, and they do have the sweet stuff. If you like ice cream, milkshakes, that type of stuff, they got you covered. When we say decadent desserts, we mean it. They are decadent. Don't leave your insulin at home. Bring it with you. But no, they are absolutely delicious. 336-755-8204. And you can check them out at Facebook.com. See where they're going to be next. And there's one more slide of them. Rick Diesel with me, Deputy.
I do believe they're going to be at the Autumn Leaves Festival next weekend, like in the festival.
They are. Trista herself told me that last night. So that's awesome. That's a big deal. Autumn Leaves is Mount Airy's biggest festival every year. A lot of people think it's Mayberry Days. You'd be wrong. It's Autumn Leaves. All right. So last but not least, Secondhand Heroes and Home for Wayward Villains is a gaming store that also features collectible toys, retro gaming consoles, as well as free-to-play arcade cabinets and comic books featuring Magic the Gathering casual play, as well as tournaments. They are located at 18184 Leesville Road in Ebbington, Virginia, right outside Lynchburg. And Secondhand Heroes is your one-stop shop. You get your nerd on 7 days a week. They open at 11 a.m. They don't close until the dice start rolling. They buy, sell, trade, barter, and haggle, specializing in collectibles of all types. Easy for me to say. both vintage and modern. Table space available for Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, or any other tabletop game. You can even bring your own tabletop game and host your game night with us. They feature older console games like Nintendo and Sega classics that you can play, as well as 25 arcade cabinets with hundreds, it says, of your old school favorites, all set to free play. So no need to bring a bunch of quarters. They host video game competitions for games like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Mario Kart, and Super Smash Brothers. Something for the gamer and collectors. All call to make arrangements for your game night at 434-317-0121 or shoot them an email with questions at secondhandheroesva@gmail.com. Now, that second is abbreviated, so don't spell it out. Just type 2ND, the abbreviation for second. secondhandheroesva@gmail.com. Their inventory changes daily, so make sure you visit them often to make sure you don't miss out on that special item you have been looking for. Come game with us, man. Secondhand Heroes just seems like an awesome hangout spot to me, that's for sure. So still say we need to take a field trip up there at some point. Don't everybody speak up at once.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I thought that was still part of the... I'm trying not to interrupt your ad reads. I have a very bad habit of doing that. I'm trying to make changes in my life, and that's one of my changes is not to interrupt Matt during his ad reads. So...
somehow
I
might start rotating around and let y'all read them.
I'm very interested in going up there. I love stores like that, and and then just the look of it and all their inventory. Yeah, I'm very interested.
Yeah, I am too. It looks like the perfect place for nerds.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
yes.
yeah. I mean, they say come get your nerd on. So, all right. Well, Bad Blood took place last night in Atlanta, and it was a wonderful celebration of the present and the past. Statisticians at TKO did an excellent job feeding Michael Cole statistics about events that happened in the old Omni, which is on the site of this building. So I don't know if this is the same one they built right after they imploded the Omni in 1997, but they were talking about all night how this building sits on the exact site. They even talked about how that Ole Anderson turned on Dusty Rhodes with the Assassins and the Russians, and that big turn that happened in 1980 that had been a year and a half in the making. I mean, it was just great. They opened up the night with a Hell in a Cell, and as you can see, these photos are courtesy of our friends at WWE.com off their photos page. But CM Punk and Drew McIntyre started out the Hell in a Cell. Have you guys been able to see this yet?
I've seen photographs of it. I've seen like these, but a little more in detail. From what I've read on the internet, people are talking about what a great match it was.
It was good. It was unlike any other Hell in a Cell match I've ever seen. It was really good. A lot of blood, which is unusual for WWE.
I know, but it seems appropriate for the area that it was in.
Yeah, you're in Hell in a Cell.
Well, I know. I'm talking about like the Omni and like the history of the Omni. Yeah. That seems like an appropriate thing to happen there. So
yeah, well, I mean, there was a lot of blood in old Southern wrestling, that's for sure. The fact that Drew McIntyre got split open initially by the toolbox was pretty awesome to me. When you guys watch the match, you'll see what I'm talking about. And let me tell you what,
he like 18 stitches.
He popped a gusher, all right. That's for sure. Just a little inside lingo. If you know, you know. Yeah, but it was like, I mean, that toolbox hit, Drew sat up. You could see that it was already bleeding, but as soon as he sat up to where gravity took effect, it was just like this. You know, I mean, it just went. And then what was messed up about it, the cut closed up because it was on top of it was in his hairline, like up here. Cut closed up, and CM Punk took that wrench and beat on the top of his head with it, and it opened up again. And it came even worse the second time. I mean, so bad that the referee, you know, had to take a towel over there to get the blood out of his eyes. I mean, and Drew was trying to fight off the referee because the crowd was booing when the referee tried to wipe the blood because, you know, bloodthirsty Southern wrestling fans. But I mean, it was to the point I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? If we were just at the Charlotte Coliseum on a Saturday night and there were no TV cameras, this would be fine, right? This would be fine. You just bleed all over everything, right? You know, no problem. But I could see, like, this is Peacock, this is NBC, somebody in New York, you're probably getting a little squeamish at some point. Like, yeah, you know, so, and eventually Drew let the referee wipe him off. I think they, you know, telling him, man, TV is like, want me to clean you up, you know. And Drew looked like he had CM Punk, but then he did this, and Michael Cole called it correctly. He said he got a little too cute. They've been fighting over that bracelet for months now. And Drew dumped a bunch of beads on his head when everybody thought he was getting out a sack full of thumbtacks. And so that caused CM Punk was actually able to get the advantage on Drew and shove his mouth full of beads. Then he wrapped a chain around his knee and delivered to go to sleep. 1, 2, 3, match over. And that's that. And they actually had to help CM Punk from ringside. I mean, he's standing right there, but he actually collapsed in the aisle on the way out. Brutal fight, brutal fight. Go out of your way to see it. And so I'm not gonna cover this whole thing because it'll take too long.
You know, Brian had to work today, so
yeah, and I'm kind of tired too. So, Nia Jax beat Bayley because of interference from Tiffany Stratton, who tried to cash in the Money in the Bank contract. Damian Priest, I think, defeated Finn Balor. Triple H made an announcement that at Crown Jewel.
Oh, I did see that picture.
Later this month. I think it's going to happen Halloween weekend. At Crown Jewel in Riyadh, each of the WWE champion Cody Rhodes is going to fight Gunther, and Liv Morgan is going to fight Nia Jax, and the winners of those prospective matches will get a special title belt called the Crown Jewel Championship. And what was, you know, I know that there's varying opinions on what people think about WWE running those shows in Saudi Arabia. And you're more than welcome to put your thoughts in the comments on Facebook. But personally, I could give a shit what you think about it one way or the other. But it was funny the way the crowd reacted, because when Triple H said, in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, at Crown Jewel, you heard the crowd go, ugh.
And that also
a collective groan. And I lost my mind. I thought that was so funny. They didn't boo. They didn't overreact. They were just like, almost like they were like, fuck, again with this shit. You know, like,
well, I mean, you're in
their social media
wrestling business, you know.
Well, it's like part of it was like they are dreading the politics kind of come back into their wrestling algorithms on social media, you know.
Yes.
It's like, oh, y'all running Riyadh again. Oh no. Oh, I don't want to hear everybody that's got an opinion. You know, but it was a collective groan, and I just thought that was the funniest thing ever. I just did. It struck me funny, and I thought it was great. I think just because of some of the pictures on this that we ought to talk about. Cool entrance from Liv Morgan last night, riding in, you know, on the Latino hot rod that Mattel is selling in toy stores now.
Very Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah.
Come in a vehicle.
Yeah, and then Rhea came. Now, this they did not air on television. I did not see her with the Dominic toilet paper, which you can buy on WWE Shop right now. This stuff's $10 a roll, is what they say. You know,
oh my God.
If you want to wipe your ass with Dominic Mysterio's face, you know.
I don't think I dislike anybody enough to pay $10
for a roll of toilet paper, right?
Toilet paper, yeah.
You know,
considering he's probably getting money for that, he doesn't care what you do with it after you buy it.
I can't say anything because at one point in my life, I owned Hello Kitty Kotex. So, and displayed it proudly on a shelf. I really can't say anything about what people buy for the things they love. So,
oh well, yeah, that's doing on me. So they put Dominic in the old shark cage there. They call it a shark cage in WWE. Dusty Rhodes used to call his Betty Lou. If you know, but notice here, Brian, see anything missing?
like a place not for him to squeeze his body through.
No. It look at the handle. Would you see anything missing?
A lock.
There you go.
Both of us are very blind, so we're all like, what?
That's all right. I'm like 1 foot from the screen, so I can see the details.
That's why we were both like.
So there was no lock on there. And so the match goes on, pretty good back and forth. Rhea and Liv, they've wrestled so much now. Their matches are just getting to be fantastic all the way around. Nice back and forth match. Liv was working on Rhea's injured knee. Rhea, when she got the power game going, she was pretty good. She landed that frog splash, which to me, Rhea is so tall. That frog splash to me looks awkward. It just always does. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It just looks weird. So look, there you go, Brian Reagan. Dominic swings the door open. But what can he do? He's like, they didn't raise him as high as they did like Cornette and them guys back in the old days above the Greensboro Coliseum floor, but he's still a good 20, 25 feet off the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he swung the door open, and the announcers are speculating, what's he going to do? What's he going to do? And he got so desperate because Liv and Rhea were fighting outside the ring. And look, Rhea gives Liv a riptide right there on the floor in front of him. And the crowd in Atlanta, again, kudos to them. They start chanting, jump, 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 jump. Like, they really just anything to see Dominic get hurt, right? No, you can do it, man. Jump out of that train. You'll be fine. Just bend your knees when you land.
Good Lord, if you learn anything, you should. Jim Cornette coming off that scaffold should teach everybody not to jump out of anything high.
Yeah.
That never ends well.
No, it's not going to end well. And it didn't end well for Dominic because he started to come out and his foot got wrapped around the chain and he got hung upside down like a piñata outside the cage. And when he started to come out of that thing, I'm telling you, Brian and Reagan, I came up out of my seat. I was like, oh my God, because he just kind of started to roll. And I thought it looked like he was going to try to grab the cage, and then drop down. But he just fell out of it like a sack of groceries. And I thought, okay, he's going to die. He's not, he may not die, but he's going to hurt himself really bad here. But he ended up getting hung like that in that chain. And, of course, Rhea Ripley did use him as a piñata. And you see the fans. This is unlike Rhea Ripley, though. She was right in the middle of the match. She's exercising revenge on Dominic. And that did come back to haunt her because Rochelle Rodriguez returned, who's Liv Morgan's one of her old tag team partners from an injury. And Raquel Rodriguez, I'm sorry, returned. Rhea Ripley was part of the reason she got injured. She threw Rhea in the ring, attacked her right in front of the referee. Dan Engler rang the bell. Actually, she kicked her in the face on the outside in front of the referee. And he called for the bell, match over. Rhea wins by DQ, but of course does not win the championship. But she did get to beat Dominic with a kendo stick, and that was fun. Main event was out next. Solo and Jacob against Cody Rhodes. He looks like some character off a Nintendo game, and it looks like he's going to fly away. But it was cool. They had that band that went viral a couple of weeks ago for playing his theme song at a football game, Play Him Out.
Oh, that's so neat.
Yeah, that's University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, I understand. And that was really cool. But not to be outdone, Roman Reigns had the Atlanta Philharmonic play him out. So anyway, Cody started off. You know, there was Michael Cole told the story about Ole Anderson betraying Dusty Rhodes back in 1980 in the Omni. And if you hadn't seen that on YouTube, go look it up. It's freaking fantastic. You want to talk about, it's a wonder they made it out of the Omni alive that night. That happened in 1980. Brian, have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild. But anyway, so the match went on, and Cody finally was able, he did tag Roman in. And it went back and forth. It was a good old school classic type tag team match. Went back and forth. Solo and Jacob got the advantage later on in the match and held on to it for a while, but then Roman and Cody slowly crawled their way back into it. God, Jacob Fatu is a sensational athlete.
Oh, look at that.
He ran up the ropes, no look, and hit that moonsault on Roman Reigns square. I mean, perfectly. I mean, if you were going to teach somebody what, they teach in sports, football, keep your feet square. Wrestling, keep your feet square. This square. I mean, I just don't know how to say it, man. It's a beautiful moonsault. You watch it, you'll see. And then they started hitting Roman with everything but the kitchen sink. And somehow he kicked out. But then Cody decided to dispose of Jacob Fatu. And I will just say this. That's the way Jacob Fatu handled Cody, a few weeks ago on TV. Oh, as you can see, this match being sponsored by Wendy's Saucy Nugs.
Saucy Nugs.
Something took the seriousness out of the match when I kept looking up and seeing Saucy Nugs. But they want to market to kids, so. And I've tried the Saucy Nugs; they ain't bad. But anyway, Cody jumped on, and this looked like it really hurt both guys. I don't know how it couldn't. That's a long jump, and he hit that square too. So then him and Jacob didn't move no more after that. Roman hits Superman punch. The Tonga brothers interfere. Jacob almost pins Roman. Jimmy Uso returns, catches his younger brother Solo off guard. Roman hits a spear, 1, 2, 3. And even though they were having a hard time before Roman left, Jimmy and Roman reunite as two of the original members of the bloodline. So Roman kind of looked at him like, really? After all the things I did to shit on you, you still want to, team up with me? And Jimmy said yes. And so they cleared the ring. And, the bloodline attacked Cody Rhodes, and Jimmy and Roman came back and saved him, which Roman didn't really want to do, but Jimmy told him, he said, you gave him your word, you got to go back. And so Roman went back, handed Cody the belt. Everybody was just standing in the ring, admiring each other, and then The Rock returned. So all he did was walk out, look at the crowd, give Cody Rhodes the eyebrow and the cutthroat symbol across his throat, and then walked out, and the show ended. And so it looks like, and Rock made it very clear on his social media after the show, he still hates Cody Rhodes, and he wants to kick his ass. So that's going to be a problem because Cody's the champion now, and Roman Reigns has made it clear he wants another shot at the title. Solo Sikoa is wanting another shot at the title. Now The Rock's back in the mix, and he's clearly wanting a shot at the title. All these things cannot exist in a peaceful existence together.
No. Speaking of another family that's put their business out there, and a fractured a family. So I guess that's what happens in wrestling.
Yeah, no kidding. It's going to be real interesting. The Rock walks out there with that People's belt that somebody gave him last year at WrestleMania, before WrestleMania. I can't remember who gave that to him. The People's Championship belt. which is so pretentious and obnoxious. I don't
Yes,
know
it
whether to
is
love The
super
Rock
obnoxious.
or hate him. I still love him. It's because you know what? I was in Greensboro one night for Raw when he was on that show, and even though everybody knew he was going to wrestle on that show, when his music hit, the pop was so loud my ears popped.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget him standing up doing his pose on the turnbuckle, you know, where he throws his hand in the air. And I remember looking up at him. I was sitting at ringside that night, looking up at The Rock and the lights overhead swinging back and forth. And I just remember thinking, God almighty, that's a cool looking visual. Man, he looks like a total badass standing up there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And when his music hit last night, it sounded like you remember like when the rock and rolls music would hit and you'd hear all those little girls in those high pitched voices squeal.
Yes.
That's what it sounded like. It was deafening. I mean, you heard and you couldn't even hear smell before the pop came. I mean, it was so loud you couldn't even hear his music, you know, in the initial pop. It was just incredible. And
What's so funny about that is you have that reaction, and then he goes. I know he didn't do that night, but then once he gets in the mic, everybody starts booing it. It's so interesting to watch him come out because no matter if you love or hate him, he is exciting to watch.
Yeah. Well, you know, you mentioned that, Reagan. I'll tell you a story. When we were it was the first house show, WWE house show we went to after they opened up everything after the pandemic, right, in 21.
Uh-huh.
And the main event was Dominic Mysterio, Rey Mysterio, and John Cena against Roman Reigns and the Usos, right? So when Roman Reigns' music hit and they came out cheering, flash bulbs, you know, the whole 9 yards. And as soon as his music faded out and he said, Charlotte, big pop, acknowledge me. Ooh, here come the boos. And we booed him. Oh, well, I was in the crowd. It was like, hey, we're cheering you. You're on the way to the ring. We want you to know that we think you're awesome. But now we know you're a bad guy. So sorry, but, you know, fuck you. You're going to get booed out of the building. And like Roman wouldn't even do anything. The Usos were just wrestling with Dominic. And like all of a sudden you hear, Roman sucks. Roman sucks. Roman sucks. And it filled up the whole building, the Spectrum Center. You've all been in there.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole place. And it's very acoustically pleasing. I don't know if people that have never been in there, it's good sound in that room. And everybody just yelling, Roman sucks, Roman sucks. With like over 10,000 people screaming Roman sucks. And he's just standing on the apron. Then he just turns around and looks like, what? You know, it was not a televised event. He's like, what? I'm not doing nothing. It was awesome. And so The Rock gets that same type reaction, Reagan. It's like when he first comes out, hey, all right, you're The Rock. We loved you for years and years and years. But as soon as music fades, okay, we know you're a bad guy. Time to shit on you, you know. And so,
but just imagine having that power. Like, you know what I mean? Like to have that kind of reaction. It's just, you know, must be amazing. So
every wrestler that I've ever met that did it for a living, was able to do it full time, and that's not many, has always said the same thing. That's the incredible feeling. And Arn Anderson has gone on record many times as saying, oh, those bumps hurt a whole lot less when the crowd was really into it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know? And so
you get to a point where you're feeling no pain. You feel it the next day, but at the time, yeah, you feel invincible.
Well, you know, I think about like the first wrestling match I went to where Crockett Promotions, Dusty Rhodes was on that show. And he had a U.S. title defense against Bobby Eaton. And so they came out, but then they took a television break. So we're just like sitting there for 3 minutes, Dusty and Cornette's with Bobby, like acting like, you know, coaching him up, getting him ready for the match or whatever. But Dusty's kind of just standing there, you know. And Dusty gets to looking around, and everybody's, you know, we know in Greensboro, we know they're doing TV taping, so we're just sitting there buzzing, during the commercial. And I guess Dusty just couldn't handle that, didn't want everybody just sitting there chilling. So he stomps his foot one time, and you hear people start clapping down on the floor. And then he stomped it again, and the whole place starts to come up. Slowly, it happened over about 10 or 15 seconds. But by the time they came back on TV, the place is rocking. And Dusty did it by stomping his foot twice. That's how charismatic he was. And The Rock's got that for days.
Yes.
He's got it for days. So it's just, I don't know any other way to measure it but the way the crowd reacted. And Jinky was telling me at the beginning of the match when Roman and Cody were like having their conversation about who was going to start, and the crowd was up and down and up and down and up, and they weren't even wrestling yet. They were just looking at each other. And she was like, why don't they do something? And I was like, they don't have to. They got them, And so it was just, I would strongly encourage you, go out of your way to watch Bad Blood. It was a really good show. There were some slow parts in it. But, a little over 3 hours, 5 matches. Nice. Just perfect.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. And they had time to do stuff in between. They had Triple H's announcement and had a couple of interviews, and there was a lot of celebrities on hand. DDP was there. Goldberg was there. As a matter of fact, Gunther got in some trouble with Goldberg. Let's see. Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson were there.
Sean Waltman.
Yeah, Sean Waltman was there. He was next to Tully and Arn. That's right. Yep. And I can't remember who else, but it was, it was about everybody that was ever anybody that's still with us in Atlanta, and so they brought them out last night. And I thought that was really cool. They were really, seems like instead of just trying to put on a wrestling show and keep moving forward, like the people in charge of WWE now are very intent on telling the story, the complete history of professional wrestling. And they did a good job of explaining why Atlanta was a big deal in the grand scheme of things, over the years.
Which is good because they own all the history. They own it all, and for so long they just ignored it, but they're the ones who owned it. And I think that's why they owned it, so they could control the narrative about it. But I do love that they're starting to actually, I think it probably also is that movement from sports entertainment back to professional wrestling.
Because they are using that expression a lot more on the WWE now, professional wrestling. So this has been, here's the thing, and I would say this, and it's been said on other podcasts, but I'll echo it. People weren't sick of the WWE. They were sick of Vince McMahon's WWE.
Yes. Vince McMahon brought the WWE to the heights of where it was, but the times left him behind, and he could not adapt. So this new era, he just didn't fit in it anymore, and he couldn't accept that. He was like, no, this is my empire. I built it, but the times have changed, and what you did back in the 80s and the 90s just doesn't work anymore, especially for a mass audience.
Yeah, and especially for an educated audience too that knows the history. You can't just gloss over it anymore.
Right.
I mean, and when you think about it, the 2000s, like, I enjoy. Well, we started the show talking about this, so I guess we can bookend. Like, you were looking back and you were saying it was not as entertaining and stuff. And I'm sure looking back with it, with today's lens, it's very offensive. There were a lot of things that happened then that were probably offensive then, but they're definitely offensive now. So I like that it looks like they're going to try to balance a lighter attitude era with, like, WWE-ness. Does that make sense? Like, because I don't want it to go back. I don't want it to go back to that. That's not entertaining to everybody.
Well, they've already done that.
Yeah, that's true. They've already done it. So just kind of have a good balance of adult content and not adult content.
Yeah, I still want them to be able to, we got to train the next generation. You still need to be able to sell toys.
Yes.
You know, Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling on Saturday mornings is what drew me into wrestling. You know, the cartoon. I mean, so, you know, you got to market to children. It's effective. I mean, but yeah, I'm hoping you guys are right. And here's the thing, you know, when they had the Hell in the Cell pay-per-view every October, you knew you were going to have 2 Hell in a Cell matches on that show every year, regardless, 1 men's, 1 women's. And it had gotten to the point that they were getting like stale and not good. Like where I'd sit there and like watch the Hell in a Cell and be like, oh, I hope this is good. I hope this is good. You know, with fond memories of Shawn Michaels and Undertaker lingering in my head. Right. And, a lot of times they didn't hold up and you're just like, well, I got through it. It wasn't too bad. But then Triple H announced that they were getting rid of the pay-per-view. And I was just like, oh, that's great. Because you shouldn't have, Hell in a Cell shouldn't be a set date. It should happen to end a feud. And that's what this one did. And I was just, when they lowered that cell last night, I was just thinking, please, God, don't let this be a stinker, you know, because you're going to ruin this match if you have too many more. And number one, they didn't have its stupid bright red cell. It was the gray one. Thank goodness. Because the red one was so distracting. I don't know if you guys ever watched one of those red Hell in a Cell matches, but it's just, it's just hard to concentrate. It's like watching football on that Boise State, that blue football field. There's a bright blue football field, and you just stare at the field because it's so bright, you know. But last night was just great. They didn't do a bunch of spots paying tribute to other matches they liked. They had their Hell in a Cell match, and it was fantastic. So, just my opinion. Everybody good?
Yeah, nice. Right. Oh, wait. I was like, what are you doing with your phone? That was what I was trying to figure out.
I'm just checking the time. We need to get out of here. It's getting late.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. All right. Well, everybody, thanks for hanging and banging with us. Oh, look at me doing some Hulk Hogan. But anyway, we will not be here next week. Thanks to NASCAR to Charlotte Motor Speedway, but we'll hopefully be back with you the following week as we work toward Fright Night. And hopefully we'll have some more news. And let's see. Wait a minute. Let's see next week. Yeah, if we come back on the 20th, that'll be the go home show before Fright Night. So we'll be back with you October 20th if all things work out. Good Lord's willing, the creek don't rise. You know all them old cliches. So for Brian and Reagan Danzig, I am Mad Matt Carter saying we'll see you next time, wrestling fans. And until then, so long for now.